What's something that's absolutely worth spending the extra money to get the nice version of? Honestly, this is asked like every 6 months on this sub, and frankly, by the end of it, literally everything you can imagine has been named. You have to decide which items are important for you, and you make use of a lot that get good versions of. If it's something you won't use often or don't care that much about, get the cheap versions. Use the same rule of thumb people use for tools by the Harbor Freight cheap version first. If you use it enough that you break it or find it lacking, then get a good version. Keyboard and mouse. I've always been partial to a particular brand and it has served me well. Now that I work IT, I'm even more convinced that it is worthwhile to spend a little more to get good quality from a reputable brand. I've had to deal with many off-brand or cheap keyboards that start having problems after just a few months. Since I do a lot of work with graphics and photo editing, it's also important to have a mouse which is high precision and fits very well in my hand. Canned tuna by the solid white is actually cheaper than the cheaper varieties. Test my theory. Open a can of solid white and a can of a lesser variety, then press the lid into the tuna to extract the liquid. Look inside both cans. The solid white will be nearly full and the lesser varieties will be about 1/3 of the can volume. There is far less tuna in the cheap varieties. B. The cheap tuna also smells and tastes awful. Shoes. And to quote Terry Pratchett, the reason that the rich were so rich, Vimes reasoned, was because they managed to spend less money. Take boots, for example. That'd still be keeping his feet dry in 10 years' time, while a poor man who could only afford cheap boots would have spent $100 on boots in the same time and would still have wet feet. Recliners. Lazebo for life. Seriously though, I'm sitting in my 20-year-old Lazebo as I type this. It's getting threadbare in spots and has lived a good life, so the wife and I drove an extra half hour out of our way to the nearest Lazebo store to order a new one a couple of weeks ago. The current one will begin its second life in the basement rec room as soon as the new one arrives. Acoustic guitars. Save up and buy that nice Martin, Taylor, Gibson, or Guild USA you've always wanted, and you'll have a companion for life that will inspire and console you through good times and bad. There's a lot of very good guitars for less money, but to get that sound, the sound of those classic recordings, you have to spend the cash, and it's worth it. Bin bags. Want to see a bag split, then pick shite off the floor for 7 whole minutes? Buy cheap bin bags. Into jammy tammies from 10 days ago. Well, if you like seeing last week dirty tampons, buy cheap bin bags. Trying to smother someone to death with a cheap bin bag, you might treat the woman in your life too. Cheap bin bags, she'll hate you. TBH, if I ever have money to fly internationally, I will spring for business class BC. I am one extremely tall and to already have chronic pain as a result of Ehlers-Danlos. That said, it's absolutely worth it for me. Not recommending for everyone. Also, there is no hypothetical near future, and I'll have $$ to fly anywhere. Just clarifying law. Mine is winter gear. I moved from Florida to Massachusetts. The first year, I bought a cheap coat at TJ Maxx. It was bulky, not terribly comfortable, and it developed a hole in the lining within the first few months. I bought a Columbia jacket at the end of winter on clearance. Huge difference. It's been 4 years now, and it still looks new. Dawn Dish Soap. The certain pricier name brand dog treats my dog actually likes. My lotion, body spray and hand sanitizer is always from Bath and Body. I catch crazy good sales though through the app. Jeans, cleaning laundry products, toilet paper, dog food. Compression socks have to be the good ones. Pricier seems better to me every time. Shoes. I don't mean aesthetically. I took up running briefly and after pulling up sore continually I bought a runner's shoe. Even walking the difference was mind-blowing. I didn't know shoes could be like that. The knee issue I had developed over the previous few years disappeared in a few weeks. Guitars. If you want to be good, at least let your guitar be nice enough that an experienced player could make it sound good. Cheap guitars are notoriously impossible to play well for a multitude of reasons. Or as I tell my students, if I can't make it sound good, how are you supposed to? Shoes. I just spent $140 on a new pair of Salomon Trail Runners and $75 on a pair for my son. I walk through my shoes and they have lasted the longest. They're also super comfortable. I'll go with the cheaper version of just about anything else, but the Salomons are worth every penny. A good desk chair, if you spend any amount of time sitting in front of one for work or leisure, like the earlier mattress comment. I find it extremely worthwhile to invest in my body. In this case, that'd be good lumbar support and quality padding for my lower back and seating posture. Comfortable working shoes or boots, always worth spending the extra money on a good pair of shoes to work in. You don't think you'll notice the difference, but you will at the end of the day the first time you get a really nice pair of shoes or boots for work. Good tools and supplies for home improvement projects. I used to think I hated DIY projects, but it turns out I just hated my shitty tools. The expense is easily justified when you think about how much money you're still saving by not hiring the work out. When you buy cheap, you buy twice, except maybe in a scenario where you're trying something new there. You may not want to commit to buying expensive, like kayaking might be an example, or skiing. Wool socks, dress and athletic. My cotton dress socks would not make it through a season without being worn out. What a racket. I bit the bullet and went all wool. I haven't replaced socks in a decade and my feet are very comfortable always. A camera. Capturing memories that will age very well is huge when life is about making memories. I bought a camera 12 years ago that still takes insane photos. But any cell phone photo from 12 years ago looks like utter shit. Ease always break, screws fall out. Lens pops out for nothing. I got some Versace shades and you can just feel the quality, the sturdiness. You get a case and a wipe and a 2-year warranty. Worth it for me. For me, a good mattress. Splurging on a quality one has been a game changer for my sleep quality and overall well-being. You spend a third of your life in bed. Might as well make it the comfiest experience possible. Sweepers. I bought a nice Rica about 20 years ago, after going through several different store brands. Yes, they cost $700,800, but so far I'm on my second one, and the old one was still fine. Gave it to church. Ketchup, if it ain't Heinz, I ain't eating it. Don't you dare come at me with that red gold nonsense at a restaurant. I'd rather just eat whatever I'm eating dry than dip it in that stuff. Adjustable bed. I broke my ankle badly in 2017. After I couldn't get comfortable with a cast and boot, I swore I'd find something. Got a bonus for work that allowed in 2020. Never going back. Makeup. It makes a huge difference when you level up from the drugstore stuff. Why? You don't have to buy uber expensive stuff, but spending an extra $15 to $20 can make a big difference. Well, I don't ever consider a meal price. I get what I want and eat what I desire because I could die any moment, but at least I ate well. But that doesn't mean I'm being stupid eating out. A big spend in terms of percentage increase is really nice canned tuna in olive oil. It really makes a big difference and can take a nice sandwich or salad knickers to the next level. An awesome mattress. It is worth it to get a good night's sleep. Getting through life is hard enough. Why do it poorly rested? A poor mattress can aggravate inflammation and arthritis. Coffee and the tools to grind and make it yourself, including a manual burr grinder. The same goes for a quality cold brew maker if you've got the desire to learn and experiment. Knitting needles, crochet hooks and yarn. Once you've tried the good brands or the hand-dyed stuff, it's difficult to go back. Expensive, but if you can afford it, so worth it. My dad always told me there are 2 things you should never buy cheap: what you put on your feet and what you wipe your ass with. To this day, I follow that advice strictly. Pots and pans. My mum still has a set from the 60s that is still better than most modern pans. Parts of the set have only just starting to warp as well, even after heavy use. Pots, pans. I bought numerous cheaper non-stick pans, only to throw them away. Finally, after 3 I just went and bought the good stuff, and they are still good 3 years later. Pillows. I've got a nice fluffy poofy pillow I've had for a couple wires now. It took me forever to get it because the other pillows I'd get wouldn't flatten out so quickly. Watches, boots, headphones, not earbuds, belts, cookware, kitchen knives, laundry machines, home plumbing fixtures, mattresses, bedding pillows, and sometimes booze. Lint rollers. I bought 99-cent ones. The only thing they stick to are the other lint roller sheets. It's a waste of money if you don't get quality ones. Wine, bourbon, and those fancy little glasses. You have no idea why good liquor tastes better in those fancy glasses, but it does. Maybe it's just me. Also, say me here. Getting a vehicle with for WD heated seat steering wheel. Should have done it much sooner. Makes winter so much more tolerable. Full grain leather. Genuine leather doesn't have to be quality and usually isn't. Spend the extra money for full grain belts, wallets, etc. Mattress. Anything that goes into or on your ears. Jackets for the cold. Perfume, seriously. Less is more in quantity when you buy quality. Tampons and pads. They're one of the few name brand items I buy because the cheaper ones just aren't comfortable and don't work as well. Boots IMO. Good pair of boots will last you if you take decent care of it. Cheap pair of boots, well, they end up alongside the Nikes. Buy an ink tank printer. More expensive upfront, but you basically never have to change the ink. Maybe once a year if you print a lot. Extension cords and power strips. I've seen cheap ones spark and fuse outlets shut. Don't be cheap when it comes to electricity. Comfortable shoes. Winter clothes that are actually warm. Decent sunglasses. My Ray-Bans are about 6 years old and going strong. Bread. Better to spend some money and get the entire experience than to buy the cheap stuff and get mostly a sugary mushy loaf. I can't remember the exact saying, but it's something about good shoes and a good mattress always being worth the price.